Alright, first tools you're going to need in this install, we're going to need some plastic removal tools. You need some clamps, you can pick them up at Harbor Freight. These drill bits here, I believe this is a 13/32 and a 5/32 drill bit. Loctite, a tape measure, these elbow joints, some Allen keys, some extensions, a 14mm socket, and I picked this also up at Harbor Freight, and it's going to have your 7 and your 10mm, which you're probably going to need for this, and the hardware that is supplied with the Defender Series comp splitter, along with the rods. We also have a drill here, which we are going to need for installing these 14 bolts. And over here, we got the Defender Series comp splitter. Now, a lot of questions from customers are, why is this better than anything else? And the answer to that question is that it's more rigid, it's more lightweight, and it's going to be more reliable than the APR splitter that we have over here. Now, we weighed this about 2 hours ago, and there was a 6-pound difference between the APR carbon fiber one and the Alumilite one. Now, you can also see here the rigidity of the APR one versus the rigidity of the Defender Series. And like I said, it's 6 pounds lighter. It comes with more hardware, and we're also going to supply you with a YouTube link on how to do this install. I think I forgot to mention too, you're going to need a jack stands, or if you don't prefer to use jack stands, you could just use a spare tire, just prop it underneath the vehicle there. If you happen to break any clips, if you want to pick yourself up some pop rivets here, plastic ones, and a rivet gun. And we're going to get underway here of removing the front end of this SRT charger. So we're going to start with removing the clips at the top, and then the 2 bolts on each corner. And we're going to pop the plastic clips off here, and we should be able to get this off in approximately 20 minutes or so. So what we're going to do is, again, take out these 2 bolts here. You got one here, one's right here, and one is going to be tucked down here in the fender. And it's the same thing on both sides. As you can see, we removed all the push pins here, so they're out of the way. And it's very important to keep yourself organized and make sure that you put all your hardware where you can find it again, because you want to put it back where it was. So we're going to start with this. Again, this is a 10mm. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop these push pins off. As you can see, we removed the wheel. It's a little bit easier to access this without the wheels on. So to remove the wheel, all you're going to need is an extension and 21mm socket. And it usually makes it a little easier to access this. Now, you can take it off with the wheels on, but it's kind of a pain in the neck because you turn the wheels back and forth. But we're going to start with taking these push pins out. And these ones are reusable, unlike the Challenger ones. The Challenger ones are usually one-time use, but the Charger ones, they seem to be a little bit different, easier to use, and you could definitely reuse them when you put the bumper back on. After you get these pins out, you should be able to peel the plastic fender out to access this bolt in here. Alright, so as you can see, we popped all these push pins out, and actually I was wrong. There was 3 screws on each side, so there's one here and one a little bit up further there, and it's kind of a pain, but they got the 2 here, and you do the same thing on the other side. And so this side should be done for now. And we're almost ready to release the front end off the car, so we can start bolting up the splitter. Alright, so we're going to remove these 2 10mm service panel bolts and pull out some of these push pins here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 push pins, and that will drop the front end of the service panel down, and then we'll be able to pull the front bumper off But this is the section that we're going to be bolting the splitter actually to, not into the fiberglass section. So we don't want to touch these 7mm bolts, these will stay intact. Alright, so now we're going to be pulling the bumper off. Make sure you have all your hardware out of the way. We dropped the belly pan down there, so make sure you have an extra set of hands.
This is all going to be so far.
Yeah, we just have to be careful because there's a cable back there. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start drilling the holes. Now the charger kit comes with 14 nuts, 14 bolts, and 28 washers. So we're going to try to equally space them and drill the holes. Now keep in mind, do not drill into the fiberglass part, only drill into the belly pan, which is the plastic section. You don't want to form any unnecessary stress on the plastic. So we're going to get going here. We're going to start with possibly lining these up here as close as we can. Now it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but please use all the hardware that is supplied. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these pins out. I already took 3 of them out, and I'm going to take this 4th one out. But the reason for it is so we can access this screw that can be removed from the other side. But when we put the splitter rods in, we're going to want to be able to put the washer and the nut in this location and use Loctite. Now it's very important that you use Loctite. A lot of people don't do that for whatever reason, but especially on the stainless hardware that doesn't have a nylon insert on it, you have to use Loctite. But we're going to get this last one on here. And this should take this little section out. Alright, so now you can see that we have access to these screws here. So we're going to be taking out these 2 outer ones here. Now it is completely on your preference of what you want to do. You could have them inner, you could have them outer, facing out. Now we're leaving that up to you. But if you do have the active cruise control, I'm advising you to go on the outside, or else it's going to mess with your cruise control. Here you go. So we're going to take these screws out right now, and we're going to find the location for the splitter rods. So these belong to right here. Now you have to take them out in order to thread in the splitter rods. So these you'll have to remove. You don't have to. You won't be able to reuse them on this time around unless you plan on returning the car back to stock. So if you want to keep hold of them, you can. But for this purpose, you're not going to be using them. So again, we remove these 2 outer screws, and that's where we're going to be sliding the splitter rods in with the nut and the washer. Alright, so as you can see, we put the rods in, and to get these rods in here, I actually had to go run to the store to get longer hardware, but you don't have to worry about that. You'll get all the necessary hardware in your kit. But you can see that I have large fender washers here, top and bottom, and remember to use Loctite on all your hardware if you're not going to use nylon insert nuts. So what we're going to do here, we got a couple more bolts to bolt to the bottom of this, and then we'll be ready to mount it right back to the vehicle. So as you can see, I use the larger fender washers here and the lock nuts, and you can see that all the hardware is here in the approximate perimeter of the inside of the bumper. Again, remember not to drill into the fiberglass, only to the underbelly. Now, we're going to leave it up to you for the most part to, wherever you want your rod locations to be. Our customer wanted in the current location. We'll show you in a moment. Now the reason for this pattern here is for better stability. I recommend something similar if you're going to tackle this yourself. We're going to flip the bumper over just so you can see what it looks like with the splitter and the rods. Alright. And that's about what it's going to look like when it's on the car. Looks pretty aggressive. Alright, well, we're going to get to mounting it on the car, so it should take a couple of minutes. Screws back in. Now there's two. There's one here again, and one at the top. And after we get these in on both sides, we're going to put the all the body clips back in. Alright, so as you can see, it's bolted on. We put all the bolts in, we put all the body clips in, we attach the service panel, and we put the wheels back on. And this is the finished product. Let us know what you think about it. And they are currently on sale for $285 plus shipping. And we also do international shipping. But if you have any questions on this or any other model, shoot us an email at Bryan, BRYANCAUSER7 @gmail.com, or find us on Facebook, BJ's Garage 570, or check out our website, www.bjsgarage570.com/products. Alright, hope this helped. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.